Also to come in World Business Report, job creation and boosting growth in the world's largest economy. That'll be the focus of President Obama's State of the Union address.
Let's go first, though, to developments in North Korea. Sally, you know, if you look at the reputations of most banks, I would say it's fair to say they're fairly sullied and that consumer confidence isn't very high when it comes to the images of these banks, but some are trying perhaps to rectify this.
Well, Barclays is today, that's for sure. It will announce a big change in the way it does its business, possibly job losses and its earnings as well. And this is the whole new big idea of Anthony Jenkins, the new man in charge. He took over from Bob Diamond. This bank has had a string of scandals that have sort of embroiled it, really. And as I say, Anthony Jenkins is hoping that his ideas will be able to change that and resign that to the past. So what's his grand plans? With me now is Chris Skinner, chairman of the Financial Services Club. Chris, thank you very much for coming in. It seems like we already know the news, doesn't it? It's been so widely anticipated, hasn't it, what Anthony Jenkins is up to?
Yes, I mean, you mentioned they have a tattered image, and they've had the libel scandal, mis-selling, issues over the funding when they got bailed out in this 2008 crisis. And now Anthony Jenkins is saying, look, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. I want to get rid of the old Barclays, create a new Barclays culture by shutting down our tax avoidance division, the structured finance division, and also laying off 2,000 of our investment banking staff. So that should say this is a cultural change, a big shift in the bank's image.
And it's not a surprise, really, is it, given his background? His background was the retail side of Barclays, and that was a real significant step, wasn't it, when he was appointed, that they are moving in a different direction as a bank. They do want to shake off this kind of casino image that they had.
Yes, I mean, Bob Diamond was viewed as quite a swaggering figure around the city, an American who created a some say casino culture, but very much an investment banking culture that was driven by profits and the whole view around bonuses. Anthony Jenkins comes from the retail bank. He was running the credit card division. He's a much safer, some would say more boring pair of hands, and that's what the bank needs to refurbish their image, to have someone who's really going to be bringing back a safe culture, and that's what he's trying to instigate.
Will he achieve it? I mean, obviously, they've got their earnings out today, and in those earnings we'll see a hit because of the money they've had to pay out in compensation to those who missold insurance products and what have you. That's another area we haven't touched on yet. Will he be able to move this bank forward, do you feel, and also see the returns and the profits for the shareholders that they've seen in the past? If they're, you know, getting rid of the investment banking arm, not completely, but significantly, that will affect its earnings, won't it?
Well, obviously, the Barclays Capital Division, the investment banking division, has created much of the profits of the bank. And if you trim that down, then the question is, what does that do to the whole structure of the bank in the long term? I think what Anthony Jenkins is trying to say is, and it's a quote that was from his predecessor, Bob Diamond, the culture should be one where when you're left alone in the room, you behave in the interests of the customer, not in the interests of yourself. And that's really how he's trying to shift the view of the traders in Barclays Capital and also the whole culture of the bank. If he achieves that, then obviously you get back to being a bank that's got a good reputation. And all the British banks have taken a big knock in the last year because of money laundering, because of mis-selling, because of other scandals, LIBOR in particular. So all the British banks need to change their image, and Barclays in particular is one of the ones that's got to shift the most.
All right, Chris, we'll leave it there. But thank you very much indeed for your time. Chris Skinner there. And of course, as soon as we do hear from Barclays in terms of their earnings and also, of course, the official confirmation of these changes we've been mentioning, we'll let you know on the BBC. Let's now move on, because President Obama will outline his priorities later today in his State of the Union address following his re-election as president in November. Issues like immigration and gun control will certainly be key themes in the speech, but as Samira Hussein reports from New York, the main focus will be on the economy and job creation. A couple of other business stories. The Reserve Bank of Australia has agreed to sell its stake in currency printing firm Securrency International, the firm. So in the markets, let's have a look at the numbers. Sharon said the Nikkei up over 2% and the yen, of course, at a 3-year low versus the US dollar. So these markets are all open and trading today. Shanghai and Taiwan and some other markets remain closed for the New Year celebration. Look at that, a dollar buying over 94 yen. That is quite something, and that's a big deal for the likes of Canon, Sony, Toyota, Nissan, all those companies that benefit. I'll see you soon.